I know I'm obviously going to get some flack for suggesting such a thing, and I know it's just my opinion, but my opinion comes from someone who's played on consoles for years and eventually got into PC gaming within the very first year of this disastrous generation of consoles. Why is this console gen such a fucking train wreck? Or why I would even entertain the idea that consoles are kinda dead and buried? I'll tell you why. One of the main selling points of consoles was convenience. You popped a game in, either cartridge or disc, it would work. It's still kind of like that, but when the PS3 and 360 hit the market, came the video game patch, a thing that was common among the PC side of things. But constant video game updates are now on every platform. Fixing small bugs and minor glitches seemed like a good thing, but the video game patch gave birth to a terrible business practice in AAA gaming. Releasing broken, unfinished games onto the market and taking advantage of the early adopters who bought their games on day one and used them as unpaid beta testers. I call this the release it now and fix it later mentality. Remember? I made a whole video about that. There's also one thing that really annoys the fuck out of me with consoles nowadays. Mandatory game installations on consoles that don't even meet minimum hard drive requirements. Like it only takes 5 to 6 games to dig up your hard drive, only because Sony and Microsoft thought 500 gigabytes was good enough. Even though we all know 1 terabyte hard drives should have been the bare minimum needed at launch. And with these installations being required for some reason, I have to ask 2 questions. 1. What is the point of the disc? And 2. Am I playing on a console or a dumbed down PC? This is what modern day consoles lack today: convenience. And if any of you think I'm exaggerating, I want you to think for a second. Imagine your 10-year-old self getting either a PS4 or an Xbone for Christmas. And being your 10-year-old self, you can imagine how excited you would get, as most children do. As your 10-year-old self, you plug in your new console and have to connect to the internet and pay to play online for some reason. Don't worry, we'll get to that. You insert your copy of whatever game that you think is great, but whatever. And just after your 10-year-old self puts in the game, you wait. And you wait. And you wait. And on Christmas morning, you spend more time waiting than actually playing. And that is really fucking sad. What's even more sad is paying to play online. Now, once upon a time when I was admittedly a Microsoft or Xbox fanboy and get into arguments with fucking Sony fanboys, and this was before I even bought the PS3. I would, and they would bring up the point saying, "Oh, PSN is free," and at the time PSN was free, but now you pay for it, but whatever. And my rebuttal would be, Xbox Live is superior to PSN. It only costs $50 a year, so who cares? But now everyone is following Microsoft's example. That's Sony and Nintendo. They're now doing the same thing. Nintendo's doing the same thing with the Switch. Even though every service doesn't offer much compared to Steam, they add another fee. They just add a fee and they just get paid for doing nothing. Like, remember when a group of hackers shut down both networks during Christmas of that year? Just to show how fragile a network and how it isn't up to par. Even though they make us pay a yearly fee for it. You think with all that money they would have extra support for it, like it would be guarded or some shit like that. Yeah, great support for everyone who pays 50, 60, or $70 a year for Sony or Microsoft's permission to play online. Like, I mean, overall, the console side of things just looks like a load of bullshit. Once you tried PC gaming, I mean, as much as I love Halo and Uncharted or all the other Microsoft and Sony exclusives, PC just feels like the superior platform at the moment. And consoles, to me, feels like they've lost their way. They've really lost their way. So those are my thoughts on consoles overall. So anyway, I'm the A Canadian Gamer, and I'll see you next time.